8, we'll call the meeting of the Police Department Building Committee to order. Roll call. I see Paul Foley, Penny Ration, Jim Bell, Bill Walbert. Are there any, Amy Murphy also online? Are there any other committee members here? And as far as non-voting members of the that are present, we have Police Chief Leon Kolakowski. We have other police members, Andrew Walsh and John DiFederico. We have Joe Zagorewski. Who else is out there?
Tom Turrentine.
Hey, Tom, welcome. Stuart
Morning.
Zobini, I see you.
Yes, good morning.
Yep.
Tony Kalenka here.
Hi, Tony.
Morning.
Good morning. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, roll call. Were there any public comments, Joe?
No
No
public. comments.
public comments. Item 3 on the agenda, approval of the meeting minutes from our last meeting on October 13th. Has everyone received them?
So moved.
One major correction. Joe gave John a promotion but I think we got to give it back to the chief.
You're so kind for that day. He was knighted for that day.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
You're welcome, John.
Okay, so you're seconding the approval of the minutes, Jim?
I move they are approved as corrected.
It's corrected. Thank you. Penny agrees with that. All in favor? Approved. We have, yesterday, we met with 3 invitees that we brought in to be our owner's rep for this project. We probably go into executive session to go through that, or we could hold that to the end instead of going into executive session and coming back and go.
Well, we need to take a vote on it, so we've got to get it.
You know, we have to keep it.
We
on
can do all the other business first, though.
We can't do their business first, right?
Then we'll come back out.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do all the other business first, before we go into executive session and, just, dealing with the people online and stuff like that. So, we're going to come back to that, to item number 4. Item 5, general business. There have been some balls moving forward. Joe, you want to give us an update on that?
So some of the major things, just hit the highlights. Hume's contract was released and funded through the bid phase. So all the paperwork was done. So they're released. They've proceeded into the design development phase as we released them last meeting. They're into the process of assembling and contracting with their design team, the civil, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers, etc. The town is currently marking all the site utilities and verifying to the extent possible the as-built from the PD and the ambulance corps. Once that's done, we've also contracted with the survey who will perform an updated survey with all the existing conditions and get the survey that's going to be required for planning and zoning so that we can go to that next step.
On the utilities audit, if you will, to mark everything like that. Historically, I mean, you do these, a lot. How many times do surprises manifest themselves?
So you're almost more surprised when the as-bills are correct.
Okay.
So we have a utility marking company that'll go in there with the ground penetrating radar. They'll put tracers on wires and they'll actually mark physically where everything is run. And then the surveyor will pick up those lines. So we actually have a as-built survey that is to scale and as accurate as it could possibly be.
And when will we have that approximately?
So we have it's being performed right now. The actual utility marking company has been out there for, I think they're going to be on their 3rd day. Excuse me. And as soon as we can get the surveyor out there, it's probably going to be another couple weeks for them to get out there just because of their workload.
Yeah.
And so we'll have a survey probably in our hands in like 3 weeks.
Okay. So for the EMTs, in case you see people, walking around the grounds, that's what they're doing, Tom.
Got it. Thank you.
And thanks to everyone at the police station for being helpful to provide access and everything.
Yeah.
So then The Humes will further develop the site plan and start the preparation for planning and zoning approvals. And then also the last thing was obviously the RFQ for the owner's project manager was received, and we conducted interviews yesterday, and I know that we're going to address that in executive sessions. That kind of brings us up to where we are since last month.
Thanks. Thanks, Joe. Any other questions for Joe? Thank you, sir. Next steps, we, you know, the EMTs have voiced some concerns about the left-hand turn in the northern part of the driveway. We've, you know, sent the schematics to the fire department. We've sent them to the P&Z. We've talked about it with Brian, and I think just, you know, we should say that for the record, we're looking at it, right? People are all the interested parties are looking at it to see if you know what the final will absolutely look
Right,
like.
and the survey will help inform that
Mhm.
document as well. I mean, you know, it's a pinch point over in that corner.
Mhm.
So it's been sent to everyone for initial comments. The drawings aren't developed enough for them to give a ton of, you know, official comments back, but we're continuing to develop the drawings so that we can get good comments on that.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Next steps. Jim,
I think we need to do this before we.
we'll go to the next steps. Okay. You probably, as I was,
We could talk a little bit about next steps.
Yeah,
I mean, we're assuming we move forward with the owner's rep.
Yep.
Then the next step I think that we really have as a building committee is getting our construction manager on board.
yes,
I think we heard that loud and clear,
Right.
that that's important with some of the disruptions in the construction field. So that would
Yes.
be, just so that would be what we would,
Yes.
our next
yeah.
motion, you know,
The idea
push.
would be to get a CM on board within the next 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
quickly.
Paul?
Has,
sir.
and this may be just backing up a little, but has the generator discussion gone anywhere? The placement
Still
of the
under
generator?
study.
Yeah.
Still under study.
Okay.
And two, the height of the gym.
It was measured yesterday at 9 feet,
All right, that's tight.
which is, I mentioned that to Leon yesterday. So we're at 9.
Can we get to 10?
Ryan's considering what the options are. But 9
We really need,
much better than we were before, because,
We were,
8 is unacceptable.
well,
Because the gym, you know what gym pull-up bars,
Yeah.
it's 7.5 feet.
yeah, I've used them too.
All right. So to get to 10 feet, you got to get above that. So you really need 10 feet at
Well,
least.
Would- it may
8,
take
9
some
feet to
special-
me.
It may take some special consideration for that device, but they're working on a plan.
Well, it's not only that, but bikes and Pelotons and ellipticals and other things, you get,
It's a
9
lot
feet
better
is-
than we thought. We gotta talk about it.
yeah, the good news is it's higher than we thought. And going forward, you know, we're looking at, you know, let's face it, costing alternatives, you know, in the reality.
Brian's still got that on his list.
So one of the questions I have is, I mean, I haven't toured that many departments, but is this on? Just so I'm,
Yeah,
Can you hear us, Stuart?
Yep.
All right.
they're all on it.
right, okay. Is how many people are in there at once? Because I think that does, you know, other than the equipment that physically itself requires a certain height. I mean, the height that you need in a gym is partly related to how intensely it's used. And to be honest, during all the tours I went to police departments, they were not intensely used. There might be 1 or 2 people there, but it didn't seem to me that it was something where you had like 10, 12 officers working out at a time.
right, well, when we toured police stations, it was usually the middle of the day during a shift. Right, so people are out doing what they do. The gym gets used either before a shift or after a shift. Right.
Okay, so do we know how many people? That's good to know. I mean, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
You can't use the space. It doesn't matter how many people go inside, it doesn't matter of capacity.
I mean, I've worked out in high ceiling gyms. I've worked out in low ceiling gyms.
This is low ceiling to the point where it won't be useful to do certain movements of. If you'd be right at the threshold of being able to do pull-ups, being able to work on a treadmill, being able to do.
So a treadmill doesn't take I mean, you're on a treadmill.
Well,
It's-
treadmill's
I
a
mean,
foot high.
It doesn't take
Treadmill's
more
a
than,
foot. And,
It's
and
it's high, you have to, it's.
Six-
you know,
6'5",
you're-
yeah.
You're right there, and then you're running, and, 8 feet is not a lot.
No, well,
no, I'm talking
you-
about 9 feet
It's
now.
been remeasured. It's actually 9,
I'm
John.
talking about 9 feet now.
No, they took the laser measures yesterday and measured it.
So it's existing 9
It
feet
is
now.
existing as 9 foot.
Better than 8.
No, wait,
Yeah.
that's the point.
Yeah.
And he's still got this on his list, so it's not, he's still working on it. But the good news was there's actually, when they measured it, the as-built is a foot higher than they thought.
Okay.
So it's,
Better,
it's,
better.
yeah,
It's not a capacity issue, it's a being able to use the
Yeah.
space.
so
Right.
good news is we've got a clear 9. And then Brian's gonna work from there.
Yeah, no, I just want to understand, like, parameters and,
well, part of it is because the requirements for certain positions in the department require you to be able to perform certain things in the gym.
right,
So if you
right.
can't perform them, you can't, you don't get spec'd out.
Well, I think in
Yeah.
the end, this is going to be one of many,
Yeah.
design variable decisions that have to be made by a building committee. And I think we just need more data, right? Obviously 9 is not ideal. Everyone would like taller. It's the compromise we make for retrofitting an older building, but we'll see what we're going to see what the options are. Make a decision.
Just leave
Right.
leave it as an open
Okay,
subject.
look, this is-
He's
I've
not finished.
Right, this is the time to talk about it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't want to be talking about this in
No.
2 months when we're into
No.
construction
Right, we're
drawings.
spending
So
a
I
lot of money.
appreciate
Yeah.
the issue. I
Yeah,
mean, we need to
exactly right.
figure it out, and what the
Right.
solution
Is
is.
it something that's
costing.
gonna, cost an extra $30,000 to bring a backhoe in there a little bit while we got stuff going on? Is it
Right.
something that's gonna cost $2 million because we gotta do this, that, and the other thing? And so I just think in reality, now's the time to talk about it. We're gonna try to get you guys some data.
You don't want a useless space for
Right.
the next 50 years either.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Exactly.
So one of the other things that would be helpful if they exist is you want to know how people are using the space and what the requirements are. One of the other things typically we look at on building committee are what are the standards, right? So if there are standards that police have, police departments or, architects or whatever have something that have issued for requirements
Mhm.
on this, I would love to see them.
We'll see what we can find. It's pretty variable.
Standards or like testing standards for.
Well, I mean, I think one thing, I mean, it'd be
Best
good to
practices.
have best practices. Yeah, we'd want to see best practices, and to the extent that there are accreditation things that require equipment that are XYZ high. If we're gonna have an additional item that's gonna cost a significant amount of money, then we should have all that backup. So when we go to the town bodies and explain exactly what the project is, we can say that. So if we're good, I don't know where we're gonna end up on this issue, but if we're gonna build our case, we need not anecdotal. We need, all the real facts.
Would it be helpful to have like a 12 by 20 area with a step down?
That's what I was thinking. That might be
You
practical.
know, I'm just saying, just for something to analyze.
Mhm.
Would it be helpful to have a depression in the slab? We're basically removing the slab and lowering it in whatever the area may be.
Half or
Well,
something like.
12 by 20 or whatever, stay away from the exterior load bearing walls. Do it inexpensively and have, like I said, a depression.
Come up with something creative, it doesn't need to be the entire space.
Right.
We could have
Yeah.
a set of
That's a very good thought,
Yeah.
John. Yeah.
I was-
The rest of the area could be.
I was thinking along the same line, and that
Yeah.
may be the most practical solution.
Sure.
Because when you're doing bench presses, you don't need 10 feet.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Overhead presses for tall people.
that's
Yeah.
different, yeah.
Fully, someone inside, we have several options.
Right, in the perfect world, we'd love to have a 12-foot ceiling down there, but that's
course.
probably, again, as Joe mentioned, you're digging around load bearing walls and things like that, but an area within the floor. If Brian could take a look at the feasibility.
If most of it's 9 and some of it's 10, that would be great.
Yeah. All right,
So-
so we'll
So real briefly, Bill, who takes on, for example, that responsibility to go inventory the equipment that the officers use and figure out how many pieces of equipment, in fact, would require a 10-foot ceiling? I mean, is that something that the police department does or Brian does?
I think the police department will give us that. And we just threw out as an example, a 12 by 20 space. We'd have to go down and
Whatever.
really look at it to see if that's the right number. My guess is going to be whether it's 12 by 20 or 15 by 25. Cost is going to be pretty similar. It's just a function of staying away from the stuff we need to stay away from.
Right, and you really need to lay out the equipment in order to find out where it's a good move to lower an area,
Right.
especially since it might create, a need for railings and stuff like that. So
So Joe, that would be a Brian Hume's expectation. I mean, a requirement, deliverable on Brian's part.
I think Brian would actually have someone who would be a almost like a sub-consultant in that particular area for a gym layout. There's vendors that come in and do that specifically,
Okay. Great.
but it would fall under his umbrella.
He has this issue on his task list. And I think what we need to get John and Andrew give us the machines that they have that require extra height, and then we'll go from there.
So just so I understand it, with the ceiling, and I should tour again,
It's
but
9 feet right now.
well, 9 feet, but is it 9 feet with some pipe showing or is
Some
it?
pipes, some
So it's
pipes.
not all of it is 9
No,
feet.
but that was for.
No.
That was stated from the
No,
beginning.
no, I know. So
Yeah,
not,
yeah, yes, that's correct.
right. Okay. So we ought to know a little bit how far down the pipes come and
Let's have this as a
But, I mean-
topic for an upcoming meeting soon. with the
Yeah,
full
yeah,
report.
yeah.
We're getting into design
Beyond what we
elements
can do
for
right now here.
for things that haven't been designed yet, but you're right. There has to be a clear space. And there's also lighting and other things that need to be considered.
Right,
So
right.
it
So
it
just
really needs to.
to think, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 9
Absolutely.
feet, but some of it's used. So we need to be careful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Most important thing is that the issue of the low ceilinged gym area is being addressed from here forward. And we don't know what the answer is going to be. We don't have enough data even to speculate, but there are some ways that we think that we can improve the limitations thrust upon us here.
And we also talked about, instead of having a solid wall between the corridor and the gym, put glass in there, just so it makes for a more open space. Instead of having a solid.
That's a load bearing wall. We have to talk about that.
Yeah, but is it the whole wall?
Yes,
No,
It is.
well, the whole wall is load bearing, but the question is, I mean, they're doorways. You can make a penetration. You could,
You can
it's not
penetrate,
practical to have a long strip of glass, but it may be possible to have multiple.
have
panels.
multiple, just so
May
that
be
it.
possible. That's a good
That
point.
would be
Yeah.
helpful. Otherwise, you just got a dark.
Are you thinking of canceling your gym membership? Is that the issue?
Look, if I'm gonna work out there, I want it to, and we're spending this much money, let's do it right. Where everyone's gonna wanna use it, we'll even let you come down. and use
No,
it.
I appreciate it.
All right?
I don't know. Any other next steps before we go back to
So I guess, are there any other plans or issues with the current plans that we had that the police department wants to raise?
I think it looked great.
well, and like I said, the only other initial response from a design issue came from EMTs on the choke point on the north left turn in the parking lot, and I think everyone is looking at that as well.
So on that one, can it actually, can we actually tape it off?
We're
And have,
right,
and
we're
have the E
I
EMT?
think eventually we're going to be doing that, right? The next time that Brian is down here, we're talking about doing that. We're also getting data from the fire department. I was talking to Russ Kimes yesterday to get radius turning for fire trucks. We also want to get the radius turning for the ambulances. So there's, we're in the
Right,
process of getting a little bit more information. Obviously, the
I think in theory, the design was that the fire trucks would not take that turn. They would not be expected.
they would not be expected to make that turn.
Straight out.
that's correct.
To the schoolhouse parking lot.
Right.
That turning radius would be ambulance, but we can mark it out, scale it out, put phones out.
Mhm.
See the ambulances.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the survey is going to inform us of that because everything's kind of drawn in space at the moment. And he did say that he had fairly large very large aisles. So when we actually lay it out, you'll be able to see it better. I don't disagree that it's a pinch point and it
When-
needs to be laid out.
When this is built, there's gonna be a lot more actually area there, because instead of having the slope go down like this, it's gonna be out to a retaining wall and drop. So there'll be a lot more space behind the building than there is now. Admittedly, some of that's for parking, but at least it's not gonna be as it is right now.
So this is a solvable issue. It's just a question. We
Yes.
might
Oh, yes.
have
We
to.
think it's
it-
solvable.
Yes, we do
might
think it's
just
so.
have to sacrifice some parking, right?
Well,
I
Wes-
wouldn't say we have to do anything right
Yeah,
now.
we're not gonna speculate, but to
This is
Joe's point,
solvable.
we're not gonna frankly do anything until we have a survey, and then let's have let's have a survey and then we can. we can
And
move
this,
forward.
when the site engineers, the civil engineers involved, he'll look at lay out all the turning
Mhm.
radius and for all the equipment that's supposed to go there.
Yeah.
And we'll have it on paper. And at that point, we'll be able to lay it out. Or if we have to move the canopy back, we have to move the canopy back. Or if we have to eliminate a parking space on the adjacent to, just to the north of the canopy, we might have to do that. So there's solutions.
Right.
There's no showstopper. So
Right.
at
No.
this point in the design, I think that's.
I just want to look the EMTs in the eye and say, we've heard them and we're looking at it.
Correct.
We could.
We have-
We're listening.
Tom, we're gonna make you drive the ambulance around there as a test.
I always wanted to drive a rig.
And a fire truck.
That too, yeah.
Scary.
Hey, is Brian coming up, Bill, at some point?
Sorry?
Brian going to be on site at some point? The
Actually,
architect?
he was on site all day yesterday with with the engineering consultants. They were doing a review of all the existing mechanical and electrical equipment. They
Ah,
spent most of the day and they did a lot of measuring and they're updating all the drawings.
Okay.
Any other next steps before we go into executive session to talk about owner's rep?
We might need Pam to get us into executive session.
I think you might have to do something different with
That's the point.
yeah.
I think we need Pam. We need our operator.
Right. Is that right, Joe, you think?
Yeah, I mean, is there anyone that isn't going to be invited into executive session?
No, but you
Right.
just, want anybody
Pop
from
it
the
in.
public to.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta invite it, you gotta invite everybody in and then whoever is on. You gotta close them out, but she has to do where she can close the meeting out.
I'll go find Pam.
All right.
Unless you
In the
do-
interim, you can vote everybody in because you have to request that the people, that are on the call who you want to go with you.
Can,
Well,
Tiger, are you able to do that or no?
okay, one quick solution would be to have the non-members log off. That would be one quick solution. Otherwise, you have to find Pam.
But can anybody just come in?
No, but
No,
Yeah.
We can close it off.
Who's been allowing people in?
Pam, I think.
Okay.
We can,
Joe's checking with Pam right now.
Because we could have people.
I don't think anybody can and I can see who's in.
So, well, Bill, do you want Tony and me to log off? We can log off.
That may turn out to be the solution, Tom.
All right.
I mean, you could always, yeah, I don't know, call back in or something.
We're going to close the meeting most likely right after we do our.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay, yeah, you've, as long as you've kept our item on the agenda, we're good. So
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks,
All right. Thanks, Tom.
Pam's logging on. She's going to put us in executive session.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we have Mike's on and Maria
Yeah.
and Tiger. It only has three people
Okay.
on right now.
And Maria was part of the interview, so make
Yes.
sure.
she's part of the-
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, we
we're
can have
actually
her
good
come
to go right now.
upstairs,
Hi,
too.
Maria.
Is she down in her office?
She's down in her office.
Yeah, why don't we just say we're started?
Yeah, we're good, right? We might as well just say we're in
And we're
executive session.
gonna include, in the executive session, include the police members and and Maria Copeland, who's
And Tiger, yep,
in Tiger.
Tiger,
Yep.
sure.
yep.
Okay, so I move that we modify the agenda to go into executive session.
Uh,
Second.
Right, for the purpose of
For the purpose of
discussing
the
owner's rep hiring. I second.
All right. All in favor?
Okay, now go. Declare we're in executive.
Oh,
session.
that was we agenda.
So we are now in
That's amending the agenda. Now we move to go into executive
executive
session.
session.
So I move we go into executive session. Second,
Second,
all in favor?
Aye.
at 8:34.
We're now declare we're in executive.
Okay, now
session.
we are in executive session.
Right.
All right, we actually just had the other guys hang up, Pam, so I think everyone that's on is part of the executive session.
Is
And
the public-
Stuart still on?
I can't read.
He's gone.
Oh,
The
okay.
only people on.
So. Thank you, Pam. And Mike, thank you for hanging in there. Maria, thank you. So do we have a motion coming out of executive session, James?
I move that we direct Joe and the Public Works Department to proceed to negotiate a contract according to the previously approved committee budget with SLAM as for the owner's representative position.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Mike, are you on there?
Yes, I'm in favor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so that's
Any other business? Any
that's
other?
approved.
any
Any other business? New business here?
Old business.
Old business?
Old business? I just want to make sure we're progressing on the training center.
Yeah, training center. So you Newtown, you saw the new town. Town's working on creating sites here.
Yes,
Let's see, right?
Committee's waiting for direction.
excellent.
Yeah,
Let's keep
waiting
the
for
ball moving as we
Yeah.
say.
And the only other discussion had to do with the logistical moving of the police department as well. And building committee's role in that, because some of that is under our budget. We've basically been maintaining that it should be left to the pros that are doing the work, and that we don't want to be in the way of the progress and decisions you guys have to make. And I just want to say, that's we're here if you need us, but
We had a meeting yesterday with our radio vendor and our IT people. That's obviously a huge component of this. And we met at ED location, and we also went to 39 Locust. They went around, they went to the roof, so it seems like everything's gonna work well. And we're on track for that. Radio equipment to be able to dispatch from that location and maintain our radio backbone. Part of that would be moving some of our critical equipment to another location permanently that's stored at the PD for better purpose.
Do you have to? Go ahead. I just had a question. So when we move, you've got all the office space where the Board of Ed is now. You're going to move the communications and dispatch. Do we have to create shower facilities? I mean, like you have now at the police department, or is that something we're doing, or is that we're just going to say,
Probably not feasible in that.
no, it's not feasible in that building. I didn't know if we had to figure out something else.
contractually with the police union, I don't know.
Buy gym memberships or something.
We
Okay.
may need,
That's-
I think we need to identify some funding for the move and for some architectural work and some other improvements. So that I think work needs to be done. So we may need to lean on Bill for writing a check related to that. So
So,
aside from that,
so we didn't
Okay.
include those
First.
costs. I think we told the town
Right.
body, we didn't include those costs when we asked for the money to put us up to 1.5, because we didn't know what they were yet.
right.
So-
With our radio vendor, they are giving us working on both equipment.
Okay.
So we will have some numbers for that process.
Depending on what that number is, it may require another request to the Board of Finance.
There's gonna be another
That's
added
correct.
expense with the moving of the state infrastructure that we have at the building. with
The 911.
911 PSAP. Their equipment, they have to approve us moving it to that location. We're working on getting in contact with them. And that number is gonna be different from the radio vendors.
So it should be the sense of the committee that until we get that number, committee does nothing, but committee would support a request of the Board of Finance for whatever is required for the.
Absolutely, yes.
And town council, we'd have to
And,
go to.
yes,
Yeah.
All in process. We'll have
Yeah.
it before you.
okay.
Right. And it'd be good just to go with one number, but.
We
Jill,
can itemize it too.
Yeah,
We-
yeah.
That's just one component of it. I think we're gonna have to go with it. We have basically $2 million for all the move and temporary items, so we don't need them up front, but there's just that's the overall project's budget considered all the move components, including, you know, renting the space.
right, right.
Fitting out the space.
Well, we may
It'd just
need
be
to-
just for whatever is pre-construction,
We,
you know, for what you're gonna need prior to when we go for the full project cost.
correct.
So our sense is, we're all in agreement on what our sense is. It may make no sense, but we're all in agreement, right? All right, I guess motion to adjourn, or, the next meeting would be, the regularly scheduled meeting, right?
December,
December 8th. Right, Thursday morning, December 8th. I don't think we have a reason to think about another meeting before then.
I don't believe so.
All right, so next, as of now, next regularly scheduled meeting, December 8th. All right,
Thank you.
all right, motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Michael.
meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.